Okay, hello guys. Today we are talking about the radian measure. Okay, so let's move to the first part of it. So why is radian and what is radian? Like here you can find like this is a part of the circle and here is a arc length, right? And here is an angle right here. We can let it a theta. So we can say right here in the red, we can say that is when the radius equals to the arc length, so that is theta equals to 1 rad, okay? That's the basic definition of here, okay? So we can set before we are using degree to represent for an angle, like we are using 60 degree, 100 degree, but now we are using radians, okay? So let's just understanding what is the conversion between the degrees and radians, okay? So just consider like you're using the circumference of a circle's formula that is 2 pi radius, right? So we can consider here the 2 pi radius, the 2 pi representing for 360 degree, right? Okay. So we can say 1 pi equals to 180 degree, okay? So we can say the degree can transfer into radians and also radians can transfer into degree, okay? So let's consider how it can be transferred. As we already said, like pi equals to 180 degree, right? So here, 360 degree equals to 2 times 180, right? So it can be considered as 2 pi. And 180 degree can be considered as pi, right? And also, if we have pi over 3, that means 180 degree times 1/3, okay? That is for 60 degree, you can find here. And also, if we have pi over 6, that means like 180 degree times 1/6 equals to 30 degree, okay? So here it's 30 degree, okay? That is how we can make it to convert with each other, okay? And then there are some working examples to help you to determine whether you know this, okay? So the first question here, like to convert 150 degree to the radians, you can set because pi equals to 100 degree, so 150 degree times the pi over 180 degree. So all you can just written as 150 degree over 180 degree times the pi. So it can be considered as 5 pi over 6, okay? That is it. And also, the problem said convert 7 pi over 4 into degrees. Okay, so we can set here, like first, pi equals to 180 degree. That is for 7 pi over 4 times 180 degree over pi. So it can be considered as 315 degree, okay? And the third problem here is for convert 1.2 radians to degree. So we knew that for the radians to degree, that is times 180 degree over pi. So here, pi can be considered as a 3.14. It is a decimal places or decimals, okay? Then you can just calculate it as 68.75 degree, okay? That is how we calculate this. And also, here's the exercise for you. So you can first try to solve the problems and then do yourself. But if you have no ideas or you want to follow with me, you can keep on going, okay? So let's move to the first part. And the problem is express 270 degree in radians. So we can set here 270 degree over 360 degree times 2 pi, right? So we can just divide it by 90 together. That is 3 over 4, or it also can be considered as 3 over 2 pi, right? That is the first problem. And for second problem, express 20 degree in radians. And we can say here, because 20 degree over 100 degree equals to 1 over 9, then times pi equals to 1 over 9 pi, okay? That is it. And for the last problem, express 2 pi over 3 in degrees. We can say here that 2 pi over 3, pi can be considered as 180 degree, right? So that is for 2 over 3 times 180 degree equals to 120 degree, okay? That is it. And for the last problem, for express 11 pi over 6 in degrees, we can set here 11 over 16 times 180 degree, right? So 180 over 6 is 30 degree. So 30 times 11 equals to 330 degree, okay? That is how we can solve the problems together. That is for this problem. So I hope you can understand how to transfer from radians to degree. Always remember 1 pi equals to 180 degree. That is enough, okay? So that's brings our lesson. See you next time. Bye.